No,
Okay.
it was for
Michelle là gái. Michelle. Không phải.
just working out a little bit of logistics. When I was here a couple of weeks ago,
Michelle sẽ dịch hay là ai dịch?
I spoke and they had to summarize, and it looks like I'm not going to speak at all. But I was hoping that my remarks would be shared in English as well as Spanish. No, not Spanish, Vietnamese. I spent several years in South America and so learned to speak Spanish. Okay, they're going to summarize after I finish. Yesterday in the Deseret News, Arthur Cryer stated, "The Vietnam War used to be described as the longest in American history before our involvement in Afghanistan. But the conflict remains especially costly. Over 2.7 million Americans served in uniform in Vietnam. Over 58,000 were killed or reported missing. Estimates of the deaths of Vietnamese range over 1 million. Lingering impacts of the war are important, and Memorial Day provides a particularly appropriate time for reflection." I think his comments are appropriate. Yesterday I visited several cemeteries to decorate graves and honor my ancestors. And in each of those cemeteries I noted that there are laid to rest the remains of those who fought in foreign wars to protect freedom. Typically, it was not necessarily to protect the freedom of America. Our freedom was somewhat assured, but we went to protect the freedom of others. Some were in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and many other conflicts. But the cost was not just in the lives of soldiers. There were also profound impacts on families for generations. It was not just the war itself, but the results or the outcome of the wars. In Vietnam, the lives of millions were impacted for the worse. Freedom was lost, lives were taken, punishments inflicted in the course of a country, and its government was changed for multiple generations. We weep for their loss. Our hearts are heavy with the cost, and we remember those who are gone. Let us dedicate ourselves to preserving liberty in our own land and in as many locations around the world as we can. As individuals, we may not be able to change the course of nations, but we can teach our children the principles of freedom, how to preserve them, how precious they are, and how costly they are to regain. Abraham Lincoln said in his immortal words in the Gettysburg Address, "It is for us, the living rather, to dedicate here to the unfinished work, which they who have fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us here to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth in freedom. Let us enshrine these words on the walls of our homes and on the hearts and minds of the upcoming generation. God bless those who have fought to preserve our liberties, and those who will sacrifice to give this same sacred gift to others around the world. It is not on a piece of paper, in a sworn oath, or in some government law, nor even in where you are born, that defines who is an American in their heart. It is defined by your love of liberty, your belief in the right of every individual to have those same freedoms we now enjoy. It is defined by the sacrifice you are willing to make for those who are downtrodden, oppressed, and lacking in liberty. It is by how we welcome and treat others who love liberty and seek those blessings for their children. I close with a selection from the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. We, the people of the United States, to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. May we each strive to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, not just by our observance this weekend, but by all our actions and efforts throughout the year. Thank you very much.